Okay, so for this one, we're going to look at pie charts. In the previous area tutorial, I talked about doing some math in the spreadsheet and having that option. And this one, I think, keeping it in the spreadsheet is kind of the simplest way to do it. So let's see here. The data I have is something I thought was pretty funny when I brought my kids to the dentist. So anyway, this is just a little made up data set, but we're working in percentages. These add up to 100. So the first thing we're going to need to do is grab a link, make sure everybody on the internet can see it. I've also changed this and all the other kind of files I've sent with you to be a viewer. Okay, so if you want to start playing with the columns and doing some things I'm going to show you later, that's fine, but you're going to need to make your own copy of this. Okay, so for me, I'm just going to copy this, go into here, right click, import Google Sheet, paste, okay. Bring this into the timeline. I'm going to set the type of the column array to percentage. I'm going to change it to a number range. Percentage is from 1 to 100. And that's all I'm going to do for now. And then to make our pie graph, I'm going to use an ellipse. The stroke is basically what we're going to use to show our percentages. So we'll have a stroke, we'll have no fill. I'm going to alt click on duplicate. I'm going to set it to point. We'll make 5 of these because there's 5 rows. And then in our ellipse, I'm going to go to radius, add a behavior, stagger, go into our stagger, something like this, just so we can see what we're doing. Maybe we'll make it a lot bigger. All right, 5 rings. So the next thing I'm going to do is plug my percentages into this. So if I go ellipse, stroke, end percent. All right, so let's see here. We have 5 arcs, all right, and they're going counterclockwise, and they're all starting from the same point. Let's add one more thing just so we can kind of see what's going on here. Let's make a palette. Assign it to our stroke color. Maybe make our stroke a little thicker. All right, so what we want to do, because this is a pie chart, it's a percentage, and what we want is for each one of these to start where the last one ends. All right, so here's our arcs. Cavalry crashed on me, so I'm kind of back where we started. I do think it's important to name things, so let's just call this percentage. All right, so now let's go to our spreadsheet again. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to figure out the start and the end. The start is going to be each one of these added to the one after it. So that idea of this being everything up to that point is called a cumulative sum. So to do that, we are going to do a little math. And here's the formula. So you say equals, which means do some math, sum of number sign b number sign 2, I'll explain this in a second, slash b2 minus b2. Okay. B2 is a relative position in the spreadsheet. And basically, it is the square next to this one. Number sign B, number sign 2 is an absolute position, and that will be sticky. So here's what will happen. This is 0, because it's basically get the sum of B2 to B2, okay, 25%. Subtract 25% from that, you get 0. But watch what happens if I grab this and move it over here. Okay, this one is get the sum of B2 to B3, 35%, and then subtract 10%, right? And so on and so forth. So now we just figured out our start position. And then our end position is going to be these two added together. So it'll be equals sum, can't type, of relative 2 squares, 2 cells to the left. Boom. And then I'll add this. All right. So let's see how this goes. So I'm going to go over here, going to reload it. I'm going to bring in another instance. In fact, I'm going to save this. 12, form by data. Scenes. Pie chart. Actually, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Call this V2 because I made one of these, but I actually think I'm going to do something else this time. Alrighty, so we brought in another instance. We're going to rename this start. And we'll bring in another one. Rename this end. Start is going to grab the start. We are going to remap the numbers. We probably don't even need to. Yeah, actually we don't need to. And the end, we don't need to do those either. So now, well, let's just see what happens. We're going to grab our start and plug it into start. And then we're going to take our end and plug it into end, which it's not going to let me do. So I have to break connection end to end. Ah, see? User error. Yay! There it is. See? Woo! All right. So now I don't need the stagger anymore. And we have our data. And if we go over here and change these numbers. Let's give a little more drooling. A little less sippy cup. And we go and we reload. See, it automatically updates.